Welcome to Andy's Garage. I'm Andy Phillips. Today I'm going to show you how to replace the pop-up headlight motor on a Pontiac Firebird. So let's go ahead and get started. So the problem we're having with these here is it goes up and down. Occasionally it'll get stuck down, but when it goes down, it makes a clicking noise as shown here. Go ahead and lower it. So you hear that? A lot of times that can be, there's a gear in there that can get loose. Some people say you can tighten it, which you can. I'd recommend just replacing it because with the age of this vehicle anyway, it's probably going to go anyway. So if you're going to go in there and do the work, it's better just to replace it. So Lewis, if you could raise it again, please. So it does pop up most of the time. We had it kind of get stuck down a couple minutes ago. But we're going to go ahead, we're going to take this kind of bezel shroud thing off so we can access it, and I'll show you what needs to be done so we can get to the motor, change it out. It's not a major project, just a couple things that need to be taken off, including this piece here, so we can access it. So let's go ahead and we'll start taking it off. Now to complete this video, these are the items that you'll need. Obviously, you'll need your replacement motor. You can get them anywhere. You can get them through auto parts stores, eBay, whatever. You can price shop. They're usually in the range of like 30 to 50 bucks, so it's not too bad. Next, you will need a Phillips screwdriver. You will need some kind of a pry bar. You'll need a ratchet with a T30 Torx bit, and then also a 10mm socket. And then you also will need a 10mm wrench, because on some of those where you have the socket on one side, you have the bolt on the other, so you'll need both to get the leverage. But that's pretty much all you need. Let's go ahead and get started. This is held on by 3 Phillips screws. You have one that's tucked all the way back here. You have another one which is right up here. And then if we come down on this side, you have this one right here. So I'm going to go ahead and get a Phillips screwdriver, and we'll go ahead and remove all of those, and then take this off and then see what's next. Want to make sure these don't drop. Some of the ones that are kind of tucked back there, you can leave that, and when you pull this bezel off, it'll come off with it. And now you can slide this off. It wraps around here in the back. I'll get a close-up so you can see you kind of have to pull that a little bit to slide this off. Just pull that back so you can clear this. Just slide that off. Now you have access right here. There's 2 nuts that we need to remove that'll then take this whole upper piece with the light assembly off, and then we'll have full access to the motor. So coming along here on the passenger side, you have one connection here that is a 10mm nut, and then on the other side of it is actually a T30 Torx type fitting, so you'll need the bit for that to take that off. And then if we come around here on this side, looking all the way down here, that's another 10mm that connects that arm to the motor. So those are the only 2 things that have to be taken off. Once that's off, then this whole assembly here can come off and we'll have access to it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take the T30 bit. We're going to bring that here on the inside, and then we're just going to take the 10mm. You can use either a wrench or socket, get it here on the outside, and then we can go ahead and remove that. And it comes off fairly easy. Now you want to be careful with this, the stud coming through. That was the T30, because as you push it back, it can fall. So you want to make sure that you have your hand there to catch it. Now in this particular car here, you can see part of this support is broken, so normally that wouldn't be the case. but I'm going to go ahead and pop that out. All right, so that's disconnected. There is one more attachment up here that I forgot to mention earlier. There's another T30 and 10 millimeter holding it here to the bracket. I'll get a close-up. We'll take that off, and then we're done. Coming along here on the back side, right there is the 10 millimeter, and here on the other side, right on this side is the T30, as you can see it. So I'm going to go ahead and connect the T30 bit and the 10 millimeter wrench to it. We'll get that off, and that's all that's holding it on now. All right, so coming on this side, there's where the arm connects to the motor. You can see the 10 millimeter nut right there. I'm going to go ahead and get the socket, put it on it, and get that off. Want to make sure you don't let that nut drop. So as we get near the end here, like right about there, just going to go ahead and take my hand, slide that off. Whoops. And it dropped anyway, but luckily right on that piece. So this is the tool that I'm going to be using. We're going to slide it right here, and then just give it a nice pull. There we go. This whole thing can come out, and we just have to undo the wire connection. So let me get a close-up of that, and then we'll pull this out. Real quick, just wanted to show, because the lid should not have separated from that assembly. On this particular one, it's got some points where it was broken. You can see here. So normally this whole thing comes off together, but we saw it pop apart because that is broken and needs to be fixed. So with this here, you can just grab the light and just flip it back this way. You have this little clip here. If you have normally you'll have this little safety lock. You'll pull that out. Just pull this back. These can be on tight, but be patient. You don't want to yank on it and break it, but there it is. So now that's off. Slide that off. And really all it is just two little prongs. It just slides right on. Take this one off as well. Same thing, just pull it gently. And then set that off here. And then you just pull this through, because this one tucks through around the motor. So we'll just push it around it. Pull it off, and now you've got everything connected here. Let's see. Okay, so on the on the outer side of the motor, facing towards the front fender, you have one 10 millimeter up top, another one on the bottom. If we come on here to the other side, you have one tucked way back there in the corner. So those are the three 10 millimeter nuts. You take those off and the motor comes out. Go ahead and put the 10 millimeter socket wrench on the other side like we did before. Get this off. And I'm going to take all three off. I'm not going to show every single one. It's the same thing in the placements that we already covered. And then we'll be back to pull the motor out. Now for this 10 millimeter nut that's all the way in the back, because of the clearance, you can't get a socket in there unless it's a low profile. So what you can do is use a wrench on both sides, because both sides are pretty tight. And that'll do the trick. All right, so now we should be able to, we got that last one off. Let's pull this out. And here we go. And this is our motor. So this is the one that came off, and you can see somebody messed with this. It's got zip ties holding this casing on. It looks like they opened it up maybe to work on the gears or something, which might be the problem. Some of the gears might be getting stripped. That's why it's clicking. But anyway, you can see we're just kind of half done, put together. This is the old motor. This is the new one. We're going to go ahead and take this little cap off. And what this is, you can put kind of a hex tool down in there to adjust that. But you do want to put this over it just to protect it and cover it. So we'll put it on this one. And then let's put this one on and put everything back together. So let's go ahead and put the new motor in. We went ahead and put the rubber cap on the new one. You're going to pull the electric to the front, and then you have your arm here that works into a groove. I'll get a close-up. And then this arm, as you can see right here, slides right into that groove. And then these line up with the holes, and then you feed the bolts through. And then what we're going to do, just set it in place, and we're going to line up the holes, and then we can take the bolts, feed them through, put the nuts on there and tighten it. So I'm going to go ahead and do all three. I'm not going to show that because we already saw it when I took it off, but we're going to do all three and then we'll be back. There we go, all tight. So the next thing we're going to do is connect this harness here. Just plug it in. There we go, and then we'll put this lock through. It's good. And then we have these two for your high beams and low beams that we'll bring up this way. And then let's go get the assembly. We'll put it in, bolt it in right here on these two sides. And then we'll go ahead and connect everything and then finish putting the rest of the pieces on and wrap it up. Okay, so we're going to take the harness. Now, your outer bulb, which is your low beam, is spread out more. If you look at the back, you can see that one's tighter. So we're going to go ahead and take the harness now and connect it. Push it all the way down. Now we'll do the other one. Just making sure. There we go. Everything's connected good on the harnesses. Next, we're going to take the arm and we're going to slide it right onto that, matching the pattern. And then we'll come back to bolt it. There we go. That's on. So now put the nut on it. I'm going to go ahead and tighten it with the socket, and then we'll be back to connect the other bolts. All right, so we just put this on, and you're better off taking the cover off because then you have more access in here, because remember, this is where you need to be able to feed the T30 through, get that on, and then also here on this side right there as well. So you're better off doing this, and then once you put the headlight down, then you can go ahead and put the 4 screws on that hold the covering over it. So we have it all connected. We're going to go ahead and just test it and see if it goes down properly before we finish it up. Go ahead and raise it. Nice. Perfect. Okay, so I just put the top on, and it can be a little tricky. We actually had to work with it to get it fully aligned, but you have the 4 screws here that we went ahead and put on. There was that one. There's the one here on the side, then there's 2 on the back. But you also have this housing for the light, so we had to kind of work with it because you want to make sure that the spacing is correct on here. We got all that done. All this is tight, so now we're ready to just put the bezel or the frame around here, and then we're done. Okay. Now to put this on, you have this curved piece that goes on the inside. So we're going to kind of slide that back, tuck it behind that bulb, and then this slides right over. And then we're going to put 1 screw on each side and 1 in the middle, Phillips screws to hold that on. So let's get those on. And the bigger one goes in the middle. The top ones are smaller because they need to slide down the shafts here. Okay. And then this one down here is right through there. That's it. Okay, well that wraps up this video on how to replace the pop-up headlight motor on a Pontiac Firebird. I hope this video was informative for you. I hope it helped you out. Please send me any questions, comments. I would love to hear from you. And as always, I appreciate all the support. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time.